Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and for this one I'm testing Battlefield 6 REDSEC mode, or also known as Battle Royale. Now quickly going to the settings. So these are the main graphical settings that I'm going to use unless specified otherwise. Graphics quality settings are completely turned down as much as possible, so this is a bit slower than low preset. But the only option turned down lower than low preset is screen space AO and GI, by only one tick lower. Now it's not a big difference, but I think it needed to be pointed out. Now in the advanced settings, for this segment of this video, I'm going to use fixed resolution scale, which is 100, so that would be 4K, but upscaling at DLSS quality. Of course, Nvidia Reflex is enabled, but I didn't use the enabled plus boost option. These ones are mostly just my personal preference and do not affect the performance, such as camera bobbing, screen shake and stuff like that. And lastly, in the display tab, everything is self-explanatory pretty much. This video is going to consist of two parts. The first one, as I showed, is going to be at 4K resolution with DLSS at quality preset at lowest quality settings. So these ones should be the most relevant for most people, I think. Maybe except resolution, but with DLSS quality, the performance is pretty good actually. So at about 100 FPS, I think it's totally playable. And if you want even more FPS, just reduce the render resolution to about 75% of 4K, which I think would be 4040p or something like that, and even more FPS. Now it needed to be said that I'm definitely not a player of these kind of game modes and scenarios such as battle royales or even multiplayers these days. But I was still interested how it performs, because it should be the most demanding area or scenario for this game, for Battlefield 6, and it performs pretty good. Though it needed to be said that this game, as most multiplayer games, are very sensitive to memory latency. So manual tuning of your memory timings, all of those are very important here. And from what I saw on YouTube, basically my tuned 5950X performs just as good as 5800X3D, and maybe even better in lows and even in general average FPS. Now with tuned 5800X3D, it might claw back some of performance, but it's a little bit too demanding for multi-threading, I think, for that CPU, because that one has only 8 cores with SMT equaling to 16 threads. Now I'm running with 5950X obviously, but with SMT disabled, so I have 16 threads but 16 cores. And from what I saw, and I think I'm pretty much on point, that it does not like SMT this game. So of course I'm not entirely sure how it performs with 8 cores with SMT disabled, but generally for that kind of CPU I do not recommend doing that modification for the CPU. This game in general is really demanding from both, I think, from CPU and GPU. Even at lower settings, at 4K, at quality DLSS, I'm still very heavily in GPU bottleneck scenario, and my CPU is not a limiting factor here. Now later I will test with lower settings at 50% resolution scale and also DLSS at ultra performance. So it basically becomes a complete potato settings and quality, but still I wanted to see how my CPU performs in mostly CPU limited scenario. And honestly, it did pretty well at about 180 FPS on average, and that would be way more than enough, at least for me, and I think for most people. The lows were pretty good, Maybe 0-1% lows are a little bit on the shaky side, but overall it's very enjoyable experience, at least in my opinion. Although I still do suspect that in second part of this video, at those potato settings, I was still a little bit GPU limited, in some areas at least. So I think that's important to keep a note on, but I think for the most part, I'm going to leave you with the gameplay. As always, thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Alright, you're good to go for deployment. Post up.
Get to that RV point! Move! Move to that location!
Missions just got posted. Have a look and knock out what you can. Check your missions. Excellent. Way to hit pay dirt. Intel like this can make all the difference. I need you to secure and calibrate locator beacons. The more the squad has, the faster we'll get this done.